Hello everyone. In this session, I would like to demonstrate automating API testing. Basically, I would run the API automatically using Selenium. So this is the content we'll be discussing today. First is what is an API, next how it works, the HTTP request and response. We'll see the difference between UI testing and API testing, and then I'll run one API manually. After that, we'll check the automation framework I'm using here, and lastly one demo using one of my API. First question which comes here is what is an API? API stands for Application Programming Interface. These are the set of functions or procedures which programmers use to build software. They actually call certain API to perform the required operation in the server as and when required. It makes a call from client to server. Whenever API hits the server, it performs the required operation and then it returns data or response over HTTP protocol. Next is HTTP request and response. We need some HTTP request method to perform some kind of operation in the request body. There are around 8 to 9 HTTP request methods, but out of them, these three are mostly used. First, get. Get method is used to retrieve information from the server. It will simply fetch the information, the data, and show. It will not perform any changes in the data. Post is used to send data to the server. For example, when we are submitting any file, any form or file upload, etc. Next is put. Put replaces the current data with the new one. After API is requested and processed, it returns the HTTP response message. These are the two main component of the HTTP response message. First is status code and next is message body. We'll be analyzing these two components to find if the API worked correctly or not. There are various types of status codes in HTTP starting from 1xx to 5xx. Most famous are the 200 OK and 404 not found. And next is the message body. It contains the success message or the error message. Based on these message body and success code, status code, we'll find out if the API worked correctly or not. Now let's see what is the difference between UI testing and API testing. This image here, it represents various layers of a web application or mobile application. The first is the presentation layer, which we call the user interface. UI testing works here. Next is the business layer or the application layer. The API testing is done here, and lastly we have database layer. For UI testing, we have the standard user inputs and outputs. But for API testing, we need an application which will interact with the API. Now, let's test the API manually. These are the steps I'll be following to test the API manually. First, we'll construct the request body in JSON code or XML code. I'll be using JSON code to send the request, and then we'll select the suitable method, and finally we'll call the API. Next, we'll get the response which will assert analyze to check if the API passed or failed. This is the interface we have for testing. Now let me tell you something about the API which I'll be testing. This is the coupon API, which will return the number of or list of available coupon of a particular merchant to the consumer. This API will be consumed by some of the merchant. For example, ShopperStop. ShopperStop is one of the merchant which is issuing coupons to various consumers. And these are this merchant ID, terminal ID, secret key is related to ShopperStop. Next, we'll select the request method. We have three options here: get, post and put, out of which I selected get because I want to get the available coupons. In the request body here, I have the identifier detail. This identifier is this ID belongs to a particular consumers whose coupons we'll find out now. Let me run the API now and see. Yeah, this is the response or the coupon details I just fetched. Let us validate the response in JSON validator, and now you can see I got the response and I have the reason text as success and then the coupon list. As you can see, I fetched 8 coupons, meaning this consumer, it has 8 coupons of Shopperstop as a merchant. And in the coupon body we have the coupon ID, the coupon title, coupon type, and the issue date, the expiry date, etc. So this is the steps I follow to automate the API, to run the API manually. In the next part, I'll show how to automate the API testing.